Alright, in this video I'll show you how to create this employee directory with the help of WordPress plugin. So we'll be creating a WordPress plugin from scratch. Here the feature that we're going to use is we'll be using custom post type, we'll be using custom taxonomy, we'll be using meta boxes, we'll be using shortcode. Let me show you what it does. Now we have a custom post type. You see this employee is actually a custom post type. When I click on add post, you'll be able to add a post. Let me just add post with the name. This is going to be the employee, and this is going to be the employee description, and we will be adding the LinkedIn profile for that employee, and I'm going to attach this employee to a taxonomy. Taxonomy is nothing but a category. Let's add her to the management department, and let's add the profile photo of the employee and click on publish. Once you click on publish, these employee gets stored into the database, and you see we have used WP list table, and you notice basically in WP list table you won't see this custom categories showing up. We'll see how to add this in this particular video, and I want to output these employee list into a page. So for that I have created a page, and I have just simply added a shortcode. So this shortcode is responsible for converting this beautiful view of a employee directory. So we have added the recent one which shows up over here. Now as said, the custom post type is this one, and if I want to add a taxonomy, I need to click on departments. These are actually a category, and I can have another department called HR and click on add category. Once you click on add category, you'll see the categories will show up on the post type. If I click on add post, you'll see another category called HR shows up, and we'll see how to add a meta box. So by default every post has this title, this editor, and this taxonomy section along with the featured image, but we have used one more field which is called LinkedIn URL. This is coming from the meta box. Now again we'll see how to convert these data which is in the WP list table to a beautiful view. So that we'll be using with the help of shortcode, and these are the functions that we'll use today to make this plugin work. So without wasting time, let's get started. In case if you are interested in learning similar WordPress related video, I have a complete roadmap. If you are a very beginner, I would recommend you to start from HTML, then go to CSS, then JavaScript, then PHP MySQL, then WooCommerce, then WordPress theme development, then WordPress plugin development. So each courses have a lessons. So these lessons are made in such a way, it's not a theory way, it's not a theory, it's the practical based. It will make you from zero to hero. It's made in such a way. Let's take an example of HTML. You'll be learning how to code in HTML and CSS, and then we'll be converting PSD to HTML, and then we'll be using a framework called Bootstrap. We'll be converting PSD to Bootstrap, and finally we'll learn a framework of CSS which is Bootstrap. Similarly for JavaScript we have hundreds of lessons. You can see hundreds of lessons. This is also a roadmap which is meant for zero to hero. You'll be learning, these are the individual lessons. These are made in such a way that it will start from beginning and it will make you a intermediate level JavaScript developer. So you can see we'll be on the end of the video we'll see how to create custom chatbot, quiz game, Giphy clone, IDMB website clone, calendar app, and detect the location. And these are the portfolio based. These are not theory based. Will be, once you complete this lesson, you'll be able to have it on your portfolio and show it and get a job somewhere. As of now I have made this free. As day passes I'll make it paid, so hurry up and get enrolled. In case if you like my way of presenting the videos, I would recommend you to fuel my coding journey. I would like you to please price yourself and pay me so that I make good amount of video in the coming future. So fine, to make this plugin work, first of all what we need to do is we need to show our plugin in this particular page. So to make that work, you need to get into the plugin folder. Here in this case I have set up locally. Inside plugin, let's just name it as UIMonk directory. Let's just name it as UIMonk, and now we need to create a new file, and that file should be the same name as your folder name. So let's say the file name is going to be uimonk, because we have named it in such a way, uimonk.php. Now what we need to do is we need to pass some metadata. So these metadata are responsible for showing the name of the plugin, the description about the plugin, the version of the plugin, and the author name. Let's do that. You will be passing that in the name of comment. You can see PHP comment. So this is the name, this is the description, this is the author, and I'm going to name it as uimonk. So this is enough to make your plugin viewable on this particular page. Now when I click on activate, what should happen? As of now we are not going to create any database, so I'm going to create a custom post type. Let's do that. So for that we need to create a function, and we need to attach that function to a hook, and here in this case the hook is going to be init, and this init is going to call a function, and that function will register the menu, a menu, a top level menu. Now this is the menu that got, this is the function that got called, and we are passing an argument. We are saying the label to be employees. You see here we have already employees. Let's just make this employee 2, and I want to make it public so that I can use these data in the front end with the help of shortcode. And ID title, so this title is actually coming from I'm making this available for the post, which is custom post. So we have title, we have editor, which is this text box, and we have this thumbnail. This thumbnail is nothing but the featured image. Now I'm saying, does this post type has an archive? Yes, it has an archive, and I'm making this the icon dash icon businessman. And once this is done, I'm registering the post type with the ID, and I'm passing the argument. So this is enough to make our custom post type show up. So here in this case it's going to be, so let's activate that. Once we activate it, that's only when we are able to see our top level menu on the sidebar. So here we have named it as employees 2. So once I click on it, you'll see, if I click on add post, you have already title, editor, and the featured image. Now we need to create a taxonomy. So if I hover on the employee, you'll see the department shows up. So let's add the taxonomy. Taxonomy is also similar to how we have called this. So for that, here we have used register post type, and we'll be using register taxonomy. That's the only difference. Again, the init hook is called, we have attached to the function, and that function has an argument, and that argument is passed to the register taxonomy, and we are mentioning the handle for the post type. So this is the post type, we are passing the post type so that this taxonomy gets attached to this particular post type. Now I'm saying the label as department, let's just name it as department 2, and I'm saying yes, hierarchy should be there, and I'm making this public, and this is the key which is responsible for showing our department in the list table. So if you don't write this, it won't show up over here. So this department is actually from this show admin column. Now if I click on refresh, you will see this will also have a department. Now let me just show you how these data are stored in database. Now we need to understand the concept of terms and taxonomy. So this department 2 is actually a taxonomy, and the term is actually, let's say IT department. IT department is an term, the first term, and let me add one more department, which is HR department. HR department is another term of taxonomy department 2. Let me show you how these terms are stored in wp_terms table. And now we are using the A1 database. Inside A1 database, you should have a table called wp_term. So if I click on term, you'll see these terms get displayed, gets inserted in this term data. We have inserted IT, we have inserted HR. So these two terms got saved. Now these term ID will be its primary key here, but it will be a foreign key on the term meta. If I click on it, not on term meta but on term taxonomy. So you'll see the ID called 11 and 12 term ID got displayed over here for the department UIM department. So we have named it as UIM department. Let me just make this duplicate so that you understand what I'm saying. So whenever we insert terms, it gets stored into the terms table. So 11 and 2. So now this is the primary key, and this primary key is acting as a foreign key for this table, which is term taxonomy 11 and 12. Now what happens is, now these relations gets stored into the term relation. Whenever a post uses these two data, let me do this. So whenever a post uses this term ID UIM department, so this 11 and 12 will get stored over here. Let me show you an example. So before getting into that, let me just add one more meta box. So for that, meta box is also similar to what we have done here. Instead of init hook, we will be having meta boxes hook, and this is the function that gets called, and we would be linking our post type again to the meta box. So this is the post type, and this is normal, saying that I want the priority to be normal, and I'm saying that just display just below the editor. So this is the options, and this is a callback function, so that the LinkedIn shows up, sorry, the URL shows up, and this is title, and this is the this is the unique ID, so that WordPress knows how to call the meta box. So now this isn't enough. Now this function will have a HTML. Since we are using custom post type, we will have access to the WP option table. Now I'm just simply displaying the label. I'm displaying the input field, and this input field has a name attribute, and this name attribute uses the key. This is actually a key, UIM underscore LinkedIn. So this key, we'll see where it gets stored. So before that, just understand, when there is a value, that value would be fetched and displayed over here. When there is no value, then it will be blank. Now this is enough to make our input field show over here. Employee 2. So you see it's available. Let me just add the first name and the description, and this won't work as of now because we have not linked this field. Let me select a lady image and then choose an HR department. When I click on publish post, you see this post will have a post ID, and this post ID will be stored in the object in the object ID column. Let me just refresh it, and now you will see what is our term. Our term is HR. So here the HR is 12, and this 12 is actually UIM ID. So this taxonomy ID, term taxonomy ID 12, this 12 gets pasted over here, this 12, and this is actually our current post ID 281. So you see the 281 shows up here, so not over here but here, 281 shows up here in the object ID, and this is actually the term taxonomy ID, the term taxonomy ID. So this is the department, and this 12 is nothing but it's coming from the term, WP term. The 12 is actually HR. If I make this IT, you'll see the 11 gets stored. Let me just update it, and now in the term taxonomy ID you will see 11 will be there in the place of 281. What if we'll add multiple taxonomy ID? Click on update, and let's see how the object ID 281 gets stored. 281 has two fields, 11 and 12. Cool. Now this is how the taxonomy, or in other word, or in general term, the category gets stored in WordPress. Now even if I update this is not going to be there on the field, because we have separately called the Metabox. Now we need to handle the save function as well. To manage it, WordPress gives you a function save underscore post, so it's a hook. Save underscore hook underscore your custom post type handle ID. So the handle ID is nothing but which we have given over here. Where is it? It's here. So you see, save underscore post underscore and your custom post type ID, and this is a function that gets triggered when the save will happen. So here in this function we'll write the relevant code to update the post meta. So we have used get meta, and now it's time for update meta. So if the LinkedIn field is set, then update the post meta and insert the value in the post meta. Now if I get into the post meta, 281 is our current where is post meta? We see term meta, and yeah, it's over here. 281 is our current post ID, and 281 will have, let me just show all, and our 281 will have a value which is, I have named it in this format, which is UI on LinkedIn. Actually it's not got stored, that's why it's not showing up. Click on update. Now it got saved. We should see the value over here, 281, and this is the ID. So whatever information you pass as a metadata meta box, that gets stored in the WP meta with the unique ID. Now again, the way how the post thumbnail stores is also a tricky part. I'll show you in detail in this video, but as in the coming video we'll not be discussing this deep. Now here what happens is, a thumbnail is stored. A thumbnail is actually a post, WP post. A thumbnail is actually a WP post. It gets stored as an attachment. So here you'll see the post type. So look for the column name post type. Here post type is there, and this is the custom post type, and by then you'll see the thumbnail ID. So this thumbnail ID has a relevant value, so this value will be your, you see this one will have an attachment called, will have a post type called attachment. Yes, it has attachment, and this is the value that stores your photo URL. I hope that is clear. If that isn't clear, just rewind this video and watch again. So I believe this is how we store our custom post type in the WordPress table. Now this is set. Now what we need to do is we need to create a shortcode. So creation of shortcode is very simple. We need to add a shortcode first. Use the function add shortcode. So this is actually your shortcode. You'll be using it this way. And now the relevant function will first create a query, and I'm saying passing the post type, and I need all the values, so I'm passing -1 as the argument to the WP query. Previously we have seen delta db for custom table. Since we are using custom post type, WordPress gives you its own object, which is WP query, global object. Now we got that query, and we'll use the while loop to loop all. So this post, so if there is multiple posts, then there would be a variable called global $post, and this post has all the posts within it. Now to iterate one after the other, the get post does the work, and we get the ID of the current post, we get the title of the current post, we get the content of the current post, and we get the post meta. So get into the post meta table. We have seen post meta table. Get into the post meta and get the key. So this is the key, and that value will be stored in the LinkedIn. So here in this case, this URL gets stored over here in the LinkedIn variable. So in WordPress there are two type of function. The first one is high level function and the second one is low level function. High level function is something used for the plugin developer and WordPress developer. What do I mean by high level function? When you use the perfect example of high level function is get post thumbnail. Once you use this function, instead of giving the raw URL, WordPress will give you the image tag. So that's high level. So if it is low level, you'll just receive the URL instead of the HTML image tag. So the high level function in WordPress is created with the help of low level function. I hope that is clear. So these are called high level functions. So why do we need high level function? We need the default HTML instead of code, instead of raw URL, which is single value. We want that URL to be we want that value to be inside image tag. Here in this case post thumbnail will give you the will return the image. Now this for the multiple this code is for the multiple terms. As said, get into the terms table and terms taxonomy relationship table, and how wherever there is UI, wherever there is department is there, and get store it into a array. So we if there is a multiple values like we have added now, then store it into the array which we are creating, which is in the form of department underscore names, and I am assigning the empty array now. So if there is multiple value, then those values will be the form of array, and this will give you the image, and then we'll just display the image, the title, and if there is multiple value department or taxonomy, then display it accordingly. And then we have content, then we have the LinkedIn URL. That's it. And we just need to make sure our HTML has this shortcode. Our page has this shortcode, and click on apply. Once you click on apply, you'll see the data which we have added right now. In the front end also you could see. And let us add one more employee. Add post. Let's pick another name, intent, LinkedIn URL, set some taxonomy, have some image, click on push. Once it gets published, you'll see the page which had shortcode displays your entered value. I think image is not saved. Click on set featured image. Let's set some image and click on update. Once you click on update, I think before image gets uploaded, I click on save for update button. That's why it's not showing up. Now Chloe image will show up. So I hope the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening. So there is a problem here. Why it's showing div? So we can directly paste it, update, and that would go away. Yes.